Welcome back to Reflections from WT. I'm your host, Randy Ray, Director of Broadcast Engineering on campus, joined, as always, by my co-host, Dr. Walter Wendler.
Randy, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I was telling you this before we started the broadcast. I was flying back from Austin this weekend, and as I was waiting for my plane, someone came up, introduced himself, and said that they listened to this podcast. So that's always nice to hear.
Who was it?
It was Jimmy Lackey. You know Jimmy Lackey?
Oh, Kids Inc. Jimmy Lackey's a good man. Kids Inc. is a good organization. I'm so thankful they're moving forward the way they are under his leadership. He's a good one.
Yeah, he loves WT and he loves this podcast. So always nice to hear.
The question is judgment, but other than that, he's all right.
Today, I'm joined by a couple of guys I really have a lot of respect for. Randy Rikel, who, by the way, I get about half of your email. Did you know that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you probably get about half of mine.
I do. We trade out.
Yeah,
So this one's yours, Randy.
The double R's. So Randy Rikel is the Vice President of Business and Finance, and we also are joined today with the University Chief of Police, Shawn Burns. Gentlemen, thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Let me just mention one thing before we get started. I want to compliment Shawn and the PD. You know, for a couple of years now, we've been named by yourlocalsecurity.com as the safest campus, safest university campus and community in the state of Texas, which is a high mark, and it's because of good policing. Been in the top 10 in the U.S. a couple of times, and a lot of the schools are religious schools and so on. You might think there'd be more security, more safety there for all kinds of reasons, but Shawn and his people do an excellent job. I'm proud of them, and I know the campus is proud of them too.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking about that this morning. You know, I think one of the basic needs of a student, they need to eat and they need to sleep, but I think also safety is a basic need that we all need.
We do. Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, and safety is right at the top. I mean, it's if you can't learn if you don't feel safe.
You can't learn if you don't feel safe.
That's exactly right.
I think we all appreciate that, Chief Burns. So let's talk about that. So Canyon, Texas, our home, was named safest city in Texas, and it rises to 21st in the nation. That's a big deal.
It's a very big deal, and the Canyon community has always been a very tight-knit community. I think that's why so many folks desire to come and live here. Our school districts are phenomenal. The university is here, provides a lot of services to the top 26. And Canyon just has that small town feel with easy access to other stuff in Amarillo. But the other thing that's special about Randall County, Texas in particular, is the collaboration of law enforcement in this area between WTPD, between Canyon PD, between Randall County Sheriff's Office, and even our DPS brothers. We all work very well together, and it's all about doing what we need to do to protect our community. And so that's a seamless endeavor that doesn't happen in every jurisdiction.
Yeah, I agree with you. I serve on the city council, and I have talked a lot with Chief Steve Brush. He has nothing but great things to say about you guys. Then I also serve with Cody Jones, who works in Randall County. I agree with you. It's nice to see collaboration across the different organizations. And so that says a lot about you guys, too.
Chief Brush and Sheriff Forbes and I, we get together and meet periodically just to sit and visit and talk about what's going on in our respective agencies and jurisdictions, just to make sure that we keep those lines of communication open. But the collaboration has been... It's one of the reasons I've chosen to stay in Randall County all these years is this doesn't happen everywhere. When you talk to officers around the state, there's a lot more jurisdictions with animosity and division between law enforcement agencies. And that doesn't happen here.
It's crazy, yeah. Dr. Wendler, I'm going to ask you, how is this different than other universities you have served at?
Thankfully, it's not too much different, although it is special here, and I think it's got the special distinctives of the Panhandle. People appreciate their neighbors and, are respectful of each other and so on and so forth. And that's been that way at Texas A&M College Station. I found that, by and large. I found that at SIU, Southern Illinois University, where I was the chancellor for 6 years. Those communities, we had very nice working relationships with all of the PDs. And let me just say, as a matter of fact, to bring Randy into the conversation, leadership starts at the top, and Shawn reports to Randy. Randy does a great job in working with the PD, and he values the public safety. And in every campus I've been on, the PD has been deeply respected by university leadership. And I can imagine some where that's not the case, but it's not been the case in my experience. Maybe the one with the least, in a sense, obvious relationship was in Baton Rouge when I was at LSU. But it was just because Baton Rouge was a big community and LSU was a big campus, and I was a pup. I mean, I was 25 years old. I didn't know left from right or, sick 'em from come here. And the bottom line is I was tending to my business and not thinking about the other things. But it, too, was a fairly safe campus community. But it starts at the top.
Well, let's talk to the top. Randy, I'm going to ask you, and I was asking Chief Burns about this before we started today. Why is a CFO over a police department?
I think it goes back to your first comments about safety being a basic need. That's always been my wife's number one thing. She's always told me, woman needs safety. And so I take that to every daughter that comes to this university, every wife, every woman, but it also goes to the men too. And so I've always made that wherever I've been as a CFO, I've always poured in resources to this team because we need to be safe. We need to be well trained. We need to be prepared in any situation. So I'll take other resources that might be needed elsewhere, but I will make sure these guys have the vests. They'll have the guns, the training, whatever they need. I mean, they even go further than just, the shooting training and all that. They come back in and do the healing training where they pack the wounds. They do all that. So they set out and set a good example for our community, both the university and the surrounding community.
Yeah.
Randy, let me just say, just want to point out that I get the police reports every day, and it's the first thing I read in the morning. I read them at 4 o'clock this morning when I got up.
Am I ever on them? I hope not. Okay, that's good.
No, I get these reports.
That was my attempt at a joke, and as it turned out, not much of one. So,
No, you're never on them. Not that I've been aware. I do read them, and sometimes I'll giggle a little bit. I'll laugh about something. Somebody the other day lost their iPods. Well, they call the police, But what's amazing is the police respond. And they put this in the report. They discuss it, and, they're going to look for the iPods. Or somebody twists their ankle playing volleyball or basketball. I'm not talking about the athletics teams, but intramural sports or just pickup games. And they call the police. They don't know what else to do, so they call a cop. And the police show up, and they treat these things with seriousness and dignity and, in my mind, care and compassion. That's the way the police report reads to me. And I know a lot of these officers, and I don't know them all, but I know many, and that's generally the way they behave. They treat people with dignity and respect. I just wanted to add that in because there is something just reading those reports.
Yeah. Well, when we think about a police officer, unfortunately, a lot of people think about getting a ticket or getting in trouble. But these guys provide stuff like escort services. They unlock vehicles. They boost vehicles. So it's really a service-oriented position.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Ambassadors for the university. They represent, in many ways, the golden rule on legs. They're out there treating people with decency and respect. We should all be doing that to each other, but they're great examples of it, I think.
Yeah, I can't imagine what our campus would be like without them.
I can't either.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about the Safe Zone app, our buses, and just what the future of you guys think WT is going to be like. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
West Texas A&M University is the Panhandle's university. With a commitment to serving the region and the world, WT is proud to put people, programs, and places first. We are a strong community, a herd of buffaloes proud to call West Texas home. Learn more at WTAMU.edu.
Welcome back to episode number 44, Reflections from WT. I'm talking to Chief Shawn Burns and Vice President of Business and Finance, Randy Rikel. Gentlemen, let me ask you, there's some things that I don't know that a lot of universities do this, maybe they do, things like the Safe Zone app. Tell me about that.
Well, the Safe Zone app is something that Shawn and his team have brought on board. We're kind of replacing the old Buff Alert system, which was mainly text and email system, but now we've got an app, and we're rebranding it. Still Buff Alert, but it's available out there under Safe Zone, and people can download it, and then they can register with as long as they've got a WT extension on their email, they can register with.
So it's like a panic button, right?
It is.
Wherever you are.
It is. I mean, there's a big red button down at the very bottom, and if you touch that thing, it sends an alert to all the police officers that say, we got a problem here. locates me. It knows exactly where I'm at, and then they'll be able to come right away. But it does a little more than that too. It gives opportunity to students to alert the police, saying, "Hey, I'm walking out to a dark parking lot. I'm going to check in, and I'll let you know when I get there." Or they can, say, "Hey, come help me. I need an escort to my car." Or they can just say, "Hey, I see something kind of strange here. Would you guys go and check that?" There's also things, we also have the well-being assistance there. So if they press that button, it'll give them opportunity to talk to one of our counselors here on campus, or if it's after hours, it goes to the national hotline. So if somebody's having some major problems, they have that opportunity. It also gives first aid. "Hey, I need first aid here," and alerts them where they're at. And it's just a very good app. Shawn's also got it to where it's going to be able to alert your computer. If you're sitting there at your computer, you don't have your phone there, it'll alert that says, "Hey, we have this event happening." Boom, it's going do whatever it says next. So
it sends it out globally to the entire university.
As long as you're registered.
Have we done that yet?
We've tested it, but I don't think we've done anything with that yet.
Yeah.
Shawn, do you want to say anything else on that?
No, the desktop notification feature is in process. Once it's completed, I expect what we'll do is we'll test it in the spring semester. It's supposed to be implemented before we close for the Christmas holiday. Once we get the desktop notification feature fully loaded and ready to go, then we'll do a test.
Yeah, that just makes our campus even safer.
Just as a tag on that, Randy mentioned the escort service. I tell every new student and every new group of parents, and I talk with all of them that come to visit unless I'm out, but I talk to almost all of them. I said, one of the things that I really like about WT, if you're in the library at night and you find yourself by yourself and now it's dark outside, it's 9 o'clock or something, you were with friends, they all left, you don't have to walk back to your dorm. And our campus is safe. This is when I tell them about how safe it is. But the fact of the matter is, one of the reasons it's safe is because you can call the police and they will come and escort you back to the dorm to completely remove any fear that you might have. And I think that's what I would call proactive safety. Yeah. Because after it happens, it's too late. Somebody's been harmed, somebody's been attacked, somebody's been, assaulted, whatever it may be. But this way, a student can call ahead. And I don't know how often they use it, but I encourage students, I said, never be afraid. You could be 6'4" and 250 pounds and a martial arts guy. 3 or 4 people come after you, you could have trouble if you call the police. That's what they're there for. And they're very willing to do it. It's not an admission of weakness or anything else. It's a way to be safe. Anyway.
Well, one of the things we also task our officers with is night staff. They do a light inventory. And so they're making sure that all of our lights around campus are lit. And if there's anything, then they turn those into SSC to get repaired on a weekly basis.
So how big is our police staff, our police force?
We're authorized strength of 20.
So we have 20 officers,
Correct.
right?
20 commissioned officers, yes.
And does that include the office staff and all that too? Or?
No, I've got an additional 18 office staff in various functions. I oversee the lock shop as well as Buffalo Gold Card. And then I have dispatchers and then my general office staff, parking services, Cleary.
And do you oversee Thunder Express too?
Well, we outsourced Thunder Express a few years ago. And so now we have more of a liaison role with them. Jerry still acts as a liaison to Panhandle Community Services. They're the ones that took over the shuttle bus operation when we chose to outsource it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys being here today. One of the things that I always do is I always throw our guest a curveball. I was thinking about a good curveball for you guys today, and here's what I think would be a good one. And here's why I'm going to ask you this. When I was going to college, in the hallways, students were always talking about music. They don't talk about music as much as they used to. Now it's usually about superhero movies. So I'm going to ask you guys, who's your favorite superhero?
Captain America, I guess.
How come Captain America?
Old school, stood for truth, justice, and the American way, and was willing to die trying to defend it.
What about you, Randy?
This will kind of shock my family, but I'd say probably Spider-Man, because kind of have those spidey senses and like to feel what's going on, but then also be able to act on it too.
Yeah. Dr. Wendler, do you have a favorite superhero?
The fact of the matter is I don't, the old one, of course, is Superman, because that's what I watched when I was a child. I guess I'd say he's my favorite. And he was Truth, Justice, and the American Way. I think that's the way that show opened. Talking about truth, justice, and the American way, and he would stop a speeding bullet, and a train, and so on and so forth. As a child, I thought that was cool.
Well,
who's yours?
I think I'd say Iron Man. I like Iron Man mostly because Robert Downey Jr. is getting to be my age, so any old guys out there hanging in there, I still like.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You like the technology too of Iron Man.
Yeah. I need an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
I had a student the other day said, you remind me of Robert Downey Jr. I said, that means you're basically sitting in class with Iron Man. So he didn't think it. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for Reflections from WT. This was episode number 44. Please join us again next time.